Hello and welcome back to the Ambassadors of Gaming. I'm Ambassador Michael, and today I would like to discuss the current situation in Hong Kong, how it relates to us as gamers, our community, and the games we play. We know that with Hollywood and movies there are a lot of things that are avoided or completely even removed from films to accommodate Chinese markets and get past Chinese censorship. Now we are seeing the Chinese game market explode. Chinese gaming companies are investing into the West and American gaming companies. This week, we saw how the globalization of our industry has started to affect us and people outside of the gaming industry, things outside of just the games. So let us dig deeper into the relationship between games, China, and censorship. The story that sparked this whole conversation was the Hearthstone ban. Chung, Blitz Chung Y, spoke up on his belief in the Hong Kong protests. Now, this isn't a political channel, but this topic is so deeply political, we need to catch you up on what is happening, if you're unaware. To condense it as small as possible, Hong Kong was previously controlled by the UK. The UK has since given it up, its ownership of Taiwan and Hong Kong to China. This led to a long series of events with tensions between the Chinese government and the people of Hong Kong. Taiwan was allowed to operate as its own country for a very long time and was allowed to have many of the rights that we experience in the West. They were very focused and still are on maintaining their democracy. China has, however, wanted to bring them back into mainland China and ruled as the rest of the country under the current communist system. The Hong Kong government was working on a new bill that would allow local authorities to detain and extradite criminal fugitives wanted in areas where Hong Kong does not have extradition agreements, including Taiwan and China. The concerns the people of Hong Kong have is that it will allow corrupt police to extradite Hong Kong civilians and visitors to China to be prosecuted. This is in conjunction with the many reported human rights violations, camps, things like that are supposedly happening in China. So there's a lot going on over there. Now that we are mostly caught up, if you want more detailed explanations on Hong Kong, we would, however, recommend checking out more on the topic. Now, let us discuss how this all connects to us, specifically in games. As previously mentioned, China is a huge global power. It has a lot of money and has a lot of influence. There are a lot of publishers that are working with and dealing with Chinese companies. Thankfully, PC Gamer has compiled a list of companies that have had investments from Tencent, one of the largest Chinese gaming companies. They also do broadcasting. There are many names on that list, but the highlights are owning Riot Games, owning a percentage of Epic Games, Bluehole, Ubisoft, and Activision Blizzard. So there are a lot of money ties to these companies and also the Chinese market for games. However, the big offender here is Activision Blizzard. No shock to anyone, I'm sure. Blitzchung had mentioned during a post-match interview live stream that he supported the Hong Kong protests. Activision Blizzard came down with the hammer and punished the two casters and Blitzchung. Blitzchung, however, received the worst of it. They removed him from the Grandmasters tournament, they rescinded all of the prize money that he had earned from that tournament, and then continued to ban him for an entire year from performing in tournaments. This set off a chain of events that led to Blizzard employees speaking out about the decision, covering up the company's ideal quotes outside of the building. Blizzard's official statement squeaked out late on a Friday night, stating, quote, "Every voice matters, and we strongly encourage everyone in our community to share their viewpoints in the many places available to express themselves. However, the official broadcast needs to be about the tournament and to be a place where all are welcome. In support of that, we want to keep the official channels focused on the game," end quote. The company continued to take its "it wasn't a choice in sides, we do not want politics on our channel" approach, which also just so happens to appease its Chinese market and the Chinese government. So in a way, it's kind of taking a side. The company backtracked, however, on his ban and reduced it to 6 months and reinstated his prize money. However, they did double down on their apolitical approach. Blizzard's Chinese publishing partner, NetEase, put out a statement regarding the stream saying they condemn the statements made and will ban any players involved and fire the commentators. The statement was issued to Chinese social media platform Weibo, which is also run by NetEase. As you can see, many ties to the same companies, to the same people. This whole move has shifted our focus as Americans to see what companies are invested in by Chinese companies and how they make going about development and community management in the future. For example, Epic Games has specifically mentioned that they will not ban people for political speeches and viewpoints. All of this has made us reconsider what's happening with our relationship with China, our relationship with publishers, and how we can navigate all of this. So actually I have some amendments to make in addition to this video, since it's taken a longer time than anticipated to edit and get out. A few things have happened in the days since recording the initial thoughts here. Not much on my end has changed, but there has been some worthwhile news to discuss, updates to this. I figured we should just cover before I actually put out the video. Blizzard has, in addition to the previously outlined statements, postponed an event in Taiwan amid the Hong Kong protests for World of Warcraft. Clearly, they decided that would not be a good idea for them. The announcement was made on October 15th through their Facebook. Basically, what you expected would come from it, people flooding it with support for Hong Kong and the protests, so on and so forth. We had an additional person, 3 people, a college team got banned from Hearthstone because they had hauled up a Hong Kong protest sign. They originally were not banned, and then Blizzard updated it, did indeed make the ban. One of the members of the team, Casey Chambers, had written on Twitter after officially getting the penalization, quote, "Happy to announce the AU Hearthstone team received a 6-month ban from competition. While delayed, I appreciate all players being treated equally and no one being above the rules." End quote. Because originally they were not banned and Blitzchung was, and they felt that that was not fair. Obviously, many of us believe that would probably be the case, since we originally thought his original ban was stupid. In addition to that, we have 3 additional updates to it. Blizzard is also banning people in the Hearthstone Twitch chat for pro-Hong Kong statements. Basically, again, they're just being flooded by pro-Hong Kong sentiments because of their current stance. And this is, to be fair, this is not like on a Chinese specific stream. This is on just their official Twitch channel. So now they're just doing it outside of China as well. In addition to that, as you'll see, Blizzard has canceled the Overwatch launch event at the Nintendo World Store in New York City. They decided to cancel it amid all of this PR nightmare for them. So Nintendo actually reached out, their official account, the New York City account, tweeted out on the 14th and said, "Please be aware that the previously announced Overwatch launch event scheduled for Wednesday, October 16th at Nintendo New York City has been canceled by Blizzard. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause." Obviously, they do not want to have to deal with protests, specifically because if people were to protest, it would be at a platform holder's store. That would not be a good look for Blizzard, basically. They're not having a good time. Basically, they're not having a good time at all. And as you'll see about this last one, this is where it really kind of kicks it up a notch and puts it into the more national spotlight in the US versus just us in the community. The Congress of the United States has written a letter to Bobby Kotick, the CEO of Activision, expressing their concerns over the ban and Activision and Blizzard's stances with China. So I'm just going to read a little excerpt here and there and kind of just go through to give you the basic ideas. Quote, "Dear Mr. Kotick, we write to express our deep concern about Activision Blizzard's decision to make player Nya Wei Chung forfeit prize money and ban him from participating in tournaments for a year after he voiced support for pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong. This decision is particularly concerning in light of the Chinese government's growing appetite for pressuring American businesses to help stifle free speech. Activision Blizzard benefits from China's growing market for esports, along with an investment from Tencent, one of China's largest technology firms. As you and your company are no doubt aware, the Chinese government uses the size and strength of its economy to suppress opinions with which it disagrees. Last week alone, the Chinese government targeted Apple for hosting an app to help peaceful demonstrators evade repression, and the National Basketball Association because one team's general manager tweeted in support of Hong Kong protests." They go on and on. There's 2 more paragraphs here, but I felt those were the 2 most important. You can read the letter in and of itself. I have a whole sources section below this video if you want to check everything out we've discussed. But yeah, so this is a big enough deal where even members of Congress feel the need to reach out. Activision should probably get their shit together. Anyways, I'm gonna let you finish up the video past me. Some of us have moral reasons for not wanting to support these companies. Some may not care at all. Some may believe in the free speech of others, and some, I am sure, don't care at all. However, that is your decision to make. I know where I stand, what actions I want to take, and how I want to deal with these companies, their products, and services. It is not for me to decide how you want to live and who you want to support. My duty and choice in this profession is to just give you the facts and allow you to make your own. That being said, I'm also not afraid to state my opinion, separating it from those facts. Hong Kong, the world is watching you. You are all badasses, and I will not support those who do not allow you to exercise your rights. That's all I have for you today, friends. I hope that keeps you informed as to what's happening. As I said, there's not much I can give you on opinion here. that's not politically motivated. I think it's good for you guys to have an idea of where your money is going, who the companies you're supporting care about, what they're invested in. I don't think you need to do research on every single person or game or company that you buy, but Activision Blizzard is one of the biggest. They have the best-selling game every year. They make record profits every year. They're making more money than everybody else every year. It's just something to consider. I think this pretty much leaves me not wanting to ever touch an Activision product pretty much again, outside of the straggler here and there, just like with EA. I don't really have any plans to buy their games going forward. On occasion it may happen, but I would choose not to support that. However, I won't speak for everybody in investors. I can only speak for myself, as everybody here is entitled to their opinion just as you are out there. And I'm sure we'll have many more discussions about this going forward. However, there is a growing concern regarding the Chinese market, the Chinese government's influence over businesses, and what kind of effects this may have even into development, because we're seeing it just now from the publicity side, just from the very public, uncontrollable side, versus you don't know, maybe there are discussions in development. We don't see it often that the publishers hold the axe above the head of devs, but it has happened. So it's definitely a worthwhile fear, I think, for a lot of us and for the industry as a whole. So it would be very interesting to see how this kind of works out on our side. So until next time, friends, I'm Ambassador Michael, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.